Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have some big news for the Acolyte, and we've also got a few tidbits for the Book of Boba Fett. As always my dear friends, before we dive into it, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted every time that I post a new video. But without much further ado, and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we begin with a massive production leak for the Acolyte, with some key new details which are really worth talking about. Here is the leaked official production information for the show, and it confirms a lot of various things while also giving us some brand new information. Notably, the filming location, contrary to what most people believed, is London and not Los Angeles. Now this is pretty significant because it means that mysterious projects that began production at Pinewood Studios earlier in the month may have been initial shots and early set design for the Acolyte. And as we see on this slip, filming begins officially in May and will carry on until November. Then we get some pretty obvious info that Leslye Headland is the showrunner and Kathleen Kennedy along with Jason McGatlin are producing. Something which has put a lot of fans off the project right from the outset, but it is going ahead and filming begins in London in just under 5 months. So then we get an official plot synopsis which incorporates much of what we've heard about the show so far, but there are 3 new details. Now we already knew the final days of the High Republic part, but the rest comes as pretty new information. Not only are martial arts going to be central, but for the first time we learn about the show's genre. It's going to be an action mystery thriller. Amandla Stenberg was announced to be the lead a few weeks ago, and this seems to confirm it. The one thing that raises a couple of questions is the phrasing of female-driven series. Are they just referring to the lead of the show or the entire plot? If they're just referring to Aura, the main character, you think they'd word it female-led series, but they've gone with female-driven series. So maybe a big portion of the cast is going to be female and dark side. So there you go my friends, an official report, and I'll also say that given the dates of filming from May to November, we can expect this in spring or summer in 2023. So now my dear friends, a couple of tidbits for the Book of Boba Fett. I will say if you've not yet seen episode 1, I would turn away now. That is your spoiler warning, but let's dive into it. Daniel Logan has shared some information about the Attack of the Clones flashbacks we see at the start. He confirms that much of the footage we see was just repurposed. It was from a 2000 shoot in Australia for Attack of the Clones. The over-the-shoulder shot, on the other hand, was brand new, and they used a young Daniel Logan lookalike to play the role of a young Boba Fett. Now, in yesterday's video, I did promise I would talk about it some more, and I do think it's really significant that we see Kamino and Geonosis in Boba Fett's flashbacks from his Bacta pod. The main point is, I think they're going to expand on this. Let me explain. They wouldn't have gone to such great lengths to shoot those flashbacks unless they had some plot significance later in the show. In my full episode breakdown, I mentioned how Boba clearly misses his dad. The loss of his father was the greatest blow Boba ever experienced. He was orphaned thanks to a Jedi, and Aura Singh walked out of his life. But Jango, his father, was his entire world. Now I think to some extent, seeing those flashbacks in episode 1 sets the tone for what we might see in a future episode. In the new shot over Boba's shoulder, he's holding his dad's helmet, and since it would be really easy to get Tem to play Jango again, I think there's a good chance we get some Jango flashbacks to him and young Boba. In other words, the flashbacks we got in episode 1 are just the beginning. And let's go a step further and get a little bit wild with it. You might shake your head, but I've never been more convinced about Mace Windu maybe, just maybe, making an appearance in this show. It doesn't even have to be that he survived, it could be in flashbacks, but you guys know that I'm all about the Mace lives theory, and personally it'd be a dream come true if they make it happen. My theory, and I could be wrong, it's just a theory, is that they place those Attack of the Clone flashbacks at the start of the show so that at the very end, things will come full circle.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme. Every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
The only question is, do Lucasfilm have the guts to make such a bold move? Would they really make him return? I don't know. Part of me thinks they'll allude to him in some way, but another part of me thinks we just got some pretty convincing evidence that he could show up 28 years on from the fall on Coruscant. Go easy on me, I know a lot of people don't agree with this theory, but can you blame me? We just got Attack of the Clones flashbacks, and I think that is pretty solid evidence. If Mace was ever going to return, it might be in this show, or they may tease him at the end and set it up for a second season. And I know a lot of what I'm saying is wishful thinking. It'd be quite a striking thing to bring Mace Windu back, but I believe Robert Rodriguez could make it happen. As I say, I'm not saying it will. If you want to hear my full theory, then click on this video. I break it all down and why I think Mace Windu is still alive. Now, speaking of characters coming back, my dear friends, we have an update about Captain Phasma. Delilah Dawson, the author of the Phasma book, has stated that she has a pitch ready to go if Lucasfilm ever decide to bring her back. It explains how Phasma survived the fall in The Last Jedi, based on, quote, what we know her armor is made of. So if you're a fan of the character, you might see her again, either in a book or if they decide to make a sequel series, live action or animated. So now guys, we have some new details for Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. We have confirmation it's going to be animated because the studio who made Monsters at Work is going to be working on this series. This report is still at the rumor stage, but it is worth taking seriously because a lot of things add up. A Redditor discovered a LinkedIn page from Icon Creative Studios looking to hire a number of animators for an unannounced Lucasfilm animated project. The listing appeared in November of this year, and we're now speculating that this unknown project is going to be Tales of the Jedi. It could be a different Star Wars series altogether, but the information adds up. If you remember the leaked title, it was seen next to the Bad Batch logo and Star Wars Visions on a Lucasfilm employee's Christmas gift. In either case, this just proves there is so much behind the scenes at Lucasfilm that is currently in the works that will be announced in due course. If you remember, there was a rumor that the Mandoverse will continue beyond the shows we know, so it's not just going to be The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and maybe Rangers, but there are other projects in that line that will come out. As you know, there's been speculation about a Luke series, maybe a Thrawn and Ezra series, or something related. But going back to this project, it's looking to be a new animated show, probably Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, which you would assume is either an Old Republic series to connect to the books and comics, or a High Republic one. And finally, my dear friends, something that came up on LEGO's Instagram page, we see multiple characters who may appear in the Book of Boba. Now, I found out this was fan-made, but LEGO posted it to their official page. It could just be speculative, but it's got me thinking, are we going to see some of those original bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back in the Book of Boba Fett? I think it's pretty likely, especially for Bossk. We already have seen a Trandoshan and there are more to come, so Bossk seems like a likely option. The same goes for Dengar, who in Legends had a lot of run-ins with Boba, and Boba even was the best man at his wedding. Obviously we know that IG-88 was rebuilt, and two bounty hunters who don't get enough love are Zuckuss and Forlom, lifelong best friends who had a fallout in War of the Bounty Hunters. If Boba is going to be up against a big bad, I wonder if he might gather up some old bounty hunters and ask them for help. That would give us some incredible fan service. But otherwise, my dear friends, that brings us to the end of this news update. If you guys enjoyed this one, you know what to do. Give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a huge welcome if you are. And also be sure to check out my Patreon, the link is down there in the description. And we now have over 100 videos not found here on YouTube. You also get access to the Discord server and so much more. Until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg, have a good one.